Hey everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today together we're going to be painting this gorgeous pair of hummingbirds. This was a weird study that I had done that you guys just really loved, so I decided to put it up as a live class. I'm going to take you through every part of creating this painting, from sketching it in to every technique, every tool, every color mix, just everything. If you don't want to draw it, there is a traceable on the website, and you can use that to transfer the image on. If you don't know how to use that, we have that in a blog, in a video, and in most of our mini books. Ooh, that got dark real fast.
Sorry, wrong button. Sorry.
On the mic is my husband, John, who just made the screen dark.
I just went, don't push that button.
Mostly what he does is make sure that the camera is pointing at what I'm talking about and what I'm teaching. Now, we are seriously doing this painting. We are seriously doing this live. But we're not going to be super serious about it, because first and foremost, art needs to be relaxing and fun. And if we take ourselves too seriously, then it's really hard to get into that space. So I do want you guys to promise that as you're painting along, you're going to be relaxed with yourself. You're going to take a deep breath. You're going to remember that this is just art, and we are, at the end of the day, just coloring. Now, if you want to see the design process, this was released as a 1-minute short, so you can catch that on this YouTube channel or TikTok or any of the places that I do shorts, and kind of get a sense of how I worked it out. I will be duplicating that process mostly again. The other thing that you're going to want to know, we'll go over during the materials. Is this straight? I feel like that's straight. There we go. So I've got an 8x8 canvas. I am using the classic cotton art alternatives canvas on an 8x8. I use that because I really like it. I'm very excited about it. It's my favorite. I want to welcome everybody here at the live too. If you have a question, put that all in caps. No one will think you're lying. Emoji Club has some new emojis, so maybe you guys will discover those. And if you hit your membership for a couple of years, you have some new little unicorns for you. Okay. The colors that are on today's paint palette are burnt sienna, phthalo green, dioxazine purple. This one is the ultramarine blue. This one is the phthalo blue. This is cad yellow medium. This one is a new color to you, but will be coming up this year for acrylic April. This is the lemon yellow Hansa. What colors could you use? Lemon yellow, Hansa yellow light, cad yellow light, any yellow light. Or lemon yellow. Generally, those words just indicate a very cool biased yellow, and it gets us a particular set of colors when we're mixing on a split palette, and is much easier to find than the tight knit yellow. So that's what it is. This particular one is lemon yellow Hansa, but any combination of yellow light or lemon yellow will get you there. Mars black, quinacridone magenta, cad red medium, burnt sienna, titanium white. What if you don't have that yellow? Then just use the yellow that you have. You will be fine on this painting. Maybe some of the jewel tones won't be quite as jewelly, but you're not going to be unhappy or sad. We painted without lemon yellow before, and we all lived and survived, so I'm sure we'll continue. But that is one, if you're doing acrylic April this year, I'm going to be putting that up in group soon, that you may want to be investing in. You can always use the tight knit yellow. It's a fabulous yellow. It's just hard for some people around the world to get, like really hard.
And I just want to say thank you to everybody. I just saw Jennifer join our patronage. Thank you, Jennifer.
Oh, Jennifer.
Thank you for Rebecca, who's been a member for 2 years. I just see a bunch of thank you guys for all that support and love. We really appreciate it.
All right. Now, traceable. It's on the website. You don't have to draw. That's not cheating. To use traceable, it's perfectly okay. I'm going to freehand it in much like I did the first time. You guys pick the process that's correct for you. And remember, this is acrylic, so even if we feel we had a boo-boo, it's not that big a deal, right? I'm going to be doing a lot of this with the Isabey Isacryl number 4 filbert. I like a filbert brush for feathers. I like it very much. I like grass combs, any filbert. Filbert shapes are great for feathers and flowers, so it's nice to have one in your paint bucket.
That was a poem. Your little thing about
was it a poem?
A filbert about feathers.
You're a poem. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna write a poem about filberts and feathers, filbert brushes and feathers.
It's on.
I'm gonna do it. It's on. I'm not saying it's gonna be good, but I will put it on Facebook later today.
Look at what happened. It's all that's happened before step 1.
Oh, Mary, thank you for joining patrons of YouTube. I really appreciate that. Be sure and check the community tab. You guys have posts that are only visible to you. you have a personalized playlist, write us at support@theartsherpa.com and let us know you joined over here so we can get you your patron dashboard, get you into the Facebook group, and make sure you have access to all your cool patron stuff. Thank you for supporting us. All right. Shall we step you one?
I did. I pre-stepped you.
All right. I'm going to take a little of my Mars Black and my Burnt Umber, and I am going to put my glasses on because you know what I have found in art?
Glasses work?
Seeing helps me.
It does.
It does. It does sort of help me. And I'm going to kind of give myself an idea of a couple of things. I'm going to come up here. Oh, gosh. It's about 3 inches or so up there. And about an inch here, and I'm kind of tell myself where, if I had a branch right there at the center, will kind of where it would go. And bring a little arc down. Just something that's like, oh, this is a little bit of a branch.
Thank you, Bug and Trish.
Right? So see how it's just loosely sketched. We don't got to know a lot about it right now. That's not, you know.
It's a mystery branch.
That's the most important thing. If I want it to come up here a little more, I can do that. I might want to have it on a little bit more of an angle. And if ever I want to move that, this is just for you guys who are sketching. Look, before it dries, what can I do? I can shift it. And again, we're painting in and around this, so this actually doesn't have to be that perfect at this stage. When I did this, it was just a kind of a free-ranging little, oh, look at these 2 little birds. I think I'll paint them kind of a thing. Now, I love this little bird here because he's got such a fun little face. He takes up a certain kind of amount of the branch. So I'm going to put a little mark there to let me know about his belly, and I'm going to come over to the side. Because I want about an inch, and I want enough room to put a little space between them. So that little thing lets me know, oh, hey, I can't make him fatter than this. He's got to stay in these parallels, right?
You must be this wide to ride this branch.
I'll come up to about here. Let's see. Yeah, to about there to say that's about the top of his head. So the bird's going to take up this sort of space. And I really like doing these little guys. And the first thing I'm going to do is kind of make a little angled line that's going to be the beginning thought of his head. I'm going to bring a little bit down on the neck. His little body sort of curves out. He's got this fabulous little curvy out shape. He's got a little foot that lands here. I love that little foot that lands there.
Thank you, Trish.
Thank you, Trish. How are you doing today, Trish? Actually had a question for Trish today. Oh, we have so many thank yous. I see 3 thank yous in there.
We are already at the mythical Sherpa.
We are Sherpa, which is so much better than being Spartan.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Difference is they sort of kick you into a hole. We hand you some brush and paint.
Yeah, kind of different. But if you come to the retreat, we hand you brushes and make you paint like you're a Spartan. No, it's a fun day.
We bring you to this hole where we light it on fire and give you little s'mores.
So this little squishy bowling ball will be bird shape a number 1. Right now, my other bird over here. No, that's funny. My other bird, I'm going to put him over. I want to give a little bit of room from the belly, but he still has to give me some end before the edge of the canvas. So those are my breaks there. Top of the surface will be about here. So he's kind of up from his friend.
I know we're talking a lot, but you're just sketching this in right now.
We're just sketching this in.
Okay.
You guys can use the traceable if you want to have the traceable. But I thought you guys, a lot of people asked me about the sketching process when I put these in, like how did I do that? So I'm going back through it. I had a kind of upward thing, and then it goes down a little bit. Let's go a little more brown. He goes in some. And I love how his body comes out kind of rounded that way. I like just looking at the basic shape of the birds' heads. It's super fascinating to me. I don't hit the beaks in until I'm pretty sure of if I like the positioning of my bodies. Like I think that they're going to have a nice little sort of roundy thing. Now his little tail going to come off here. And this little tail is going to come off here. So I might actually kind of come back into here to take this branch down a little bit. And since that paint's dried, I'm going to go ahead and hit it with some white to kind of move it back. It's that easy, my friends. A little more of my black and brown. And this beak kind of comes up at a little point this direction. And this little beak comes up at a point that direction. And you can see I'm just giving myself a little line because really we paint this stuff sort of in a little later. We don't have to know everything there is to know about it right this second. And I can kind of join that down. So now I know where my birds are. If you watch the time-lapse video, it's exactly how we got there. This is their fun little bodies that made these little shapes. I loved them. Had to share them with you. Is that fun?
They're the hoverbirds.
They're the hoverbirds. I'm going to dry this because I don't want the brown to go everywhere.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I'll explain. So, you guys know the background, dry your surface. And as someone asked earlier, why are we not painting the background in first? Sometimes you do that, sometimes you don't. The bug really did a good job of explaining it in chat, and that sometimes you paint the background first and then focus on the other elements, and that allows you to... oh, wow, there's a driving force between why the approach... yes, man, just read the bug in chat. If you're not part of chat, you should come by and be part of that. That's really good, well articulated. But yeah, sometimes that's how you do it.
How we do it? This is how we do it.
With a step 2.
Step 2.
It's 2 steps.
2 steps. Step 2. So now I'm going to come in with the hog bristle brush. Anything in a bright in this size range is fine. This is a number 18. This is a number 20. In your brush bucket, and I'm doing a brush video here soon. I'm literally going to just tell you guys what's in my brush bucket and tell you the brands and sizes so you guys can know exactly, and then what's in my paint bucket, just sort of what my current supply set is. So if you want to get exactly the supplies, you can, and we will have these hopefully with the inclusion of Simply Simmons on the website. But this is to a 20 and 18, but you can kind of see they're in a certain size range. This is sort of like in that half, and this is sort of closer to 1 inch, and they're both brights, and they have a fairly short length out. Maybe I'll even do the smaller one because it's probably easy to find. I'll grab that number 18. I like to mess with the purposes of writing the mini book. It's my favorite. Now I'm going to make purple over here. I'm going to take a little of my ultramarine blue to my quinacridone magenta. A little more magenta, and I'm going to get like a lot of white into that. Just a ton of white. And I'm going to start to paint the background. Sometimes a little more in the magenta, sometimes it'll be a little more in the blue. In fact, you'll find through here it gets a little bluer. Now I'm going to go deep into my bird. Did you notice? Deep into the bird. And I'm just painting strongly around those lines. Mixing that in. If you don't have a hog bristle brush, I would recommend just using a bright. Don't let it freak you out. We're going to paint deep into the branch as well. Isn't that nice? Just a light, nice, light little color. You know, sometimes we can come in and kind of maybe get a little blue going there. Going to come in and paint in on the beak. See how that trims that back quite a lot? Again, if you watch the time lapse, you'll see this process happening there. This is like my favorite kind of way of painting. I'm probably going to thicken him out when I paint him back in. But this makes sure that his little body, you know, I'm using very rough multi-directional brush strokes. All right, you see me kind of putting it down. Maybe a little more blue down here. Notice that that purple goes more blue. when I add more ultramarine blue to it. I'm going to paint into the branch pretty deeply. Come around here. And this is just the first layer, which is kind of fun because we're doing a very rough kind of daily painting style set of birds.
More birds.
Now for me that's a super true statement too, because I do daily paint.
You're a regular painter of birds.
Yes, I am. I think I've got to check the poll. I hope it gives me the results because I asked a poll about the birds.
I was going to vote on it, but I realized I might be biasing the vote.
Did you see where it was going?
No, I didn't. I didn't peek.
I threw up the shoebill because there is a strong supporting group of shoebills, and hey, I love Fatuba. So I was like, let's give him a chance to get that shoebill on the calendar, right? So if you're a shoebill fanatic, it's time to campaign for the shoebill. Notice I didn't give it a no option because you never had that choice. No birds was not an option. If you're here, you're painting birds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, I'm going to dry this.
I saw you. So you're going for it. Oh. So there I see. So it's I see. It is. Tropical birds are ahead, is what Heather says. Ooh, tropical birds are in the lead. Yeah, thank you, Deborah. That's cool. And yeah, it's we that would be interesting to have a shoebill come to you that way. The bug. That would be a. I think they're a gentle creature. You know, they're scary when you look at it. They're huge. They're like if you go YouTubing for the shoebill, there's a really cool one. Like she says, Futaba, I think is his name. But these are very, very large birds, and they have a very big bill. That's their shoebill. And when they make their friendly hello sound, it's scary. And when they make their I'm gonna be scary sound, it's even scarier.
Yeah, and they're big.
You're like velociraptor
honestly,
size.
first time I thought it was a puppet or a Muppet. I didn't believe it was a real bird. I didn't. But then I met Fatuba and I was like, oh my goodness, it is a real bird. Okay, now that this is dry, we're going to put up our next layer.
And our next step.
And our next step. Our next step. Now the next step, we're going to be a lot into our white. You can get a little purple into it, but it's going to be a lot into our white. And I got to really get the extra moisture out of this brush because it is a dry brush. Come in here and kind of very carefully dry brush, and maybe even a little bit of the phthalo blue like you do. Coming in, and this is just that next interesting little layer, isn't it? Sometimes I like to mix phthalo blue and ultramarine blue. It gives me almost a cerulean blue. And you can see my pressure is light. Look at the load of the brush. It's super chill load of the brush. And I don't know if the mic can pick it up. The sound sometimes can tell you that it's definitely a light. A little bit of blue down there. I like the play of those two colors against each other. Now I'm going to wipe this out a lot, and I'm going to get a little bit of white onto that. I don't want to take out all my pink, lavender, and all that wonderful color I first put in. And if I need to, I can go right back into it. So there should be color underneath, showing through, popping through, right? And that can be a hard technique to learn. But at the 2 hoot level, you should be starting to work on your dry brushing. Remember, this is just these two, so they make a nice little purple. And we can always get a little turquoise on there. And you can see me coming back. Again, a lot of dry brushing. But I don't take out the under painting. Of what we have. The going into the birds allows me to change directions a little bit if I need to fatten or thin them out. It just gives me the shape of them without taking away that. And that's how I got this background in. I'm gonna just kind of create this right here. Can you see how it just skips over this canvas surface? Now, the thing about dry brushing is you have paint drying on your brush, so it's important to give them a very good bath after your painting session.
Ooh,
All
yeah.
right. Now, I'm going to dry it. John's going to look to see if you guys had any questions for me that I missed, that the moderators maybe weren't able to answer. And when we come back, I'll show you what the next layer is.
So, yeah, I'll tell her about all of it. I agree, guys. The shoe bill does look like a prehistoric, like, creature. And it's big. It's like when you look at a picture of it, you're like, oh, that's a crazy creature, especially if it was like the size of a chicken. But you're like, wow, it's as tall as a person. That's wow. It's pretty crazy. It's a big bird. And yeah, if you guys haven't had a chance to, and thank you, Goldie. I was just scrolling back. It caught me there. So many people are wishing they could go back and re-vote for the shoe bill. I can understand that. There's lots of amazement at what the shoe bill is, and now everyone's like, I want to change my vote.
I mean, I think it lets you do that, doesn't it?
I think it's a one-way voter.
Well, I want to thank Goldie, and I want to tell Candy that this is a stretch canvas. This is the Art Alternatives Classic Cotton Stretch Canvas. I really like these. I gave a grip of them to my mom. I really, really love them. I think that they're super, super good. Okie dokie, back to the filbert. Let's paint some branches.
It's the bug's like, is it a big bird like Big Bird from Sesame Street? It's like no, like Big Bird, like prehistoric, like pterodactyl Big Bird.
Oh, who's asking?
The bug.
The bug. If you don't know about the shoe bill, this is a soul creature that you need to know about. Cool. He is the most fantastic. Look up Fatuba, I can't spell. Fatuba, whatever that spells like. And if you put Fatuba phonetically in shoe bill, I know you get there because I do it on the TV and I can get there. I'm going to take a little bit of my quinacridone magenta and my cad red. I like these two together very, very much. I'll go ahead and get some of the lemon yellow in there. And I'm going to come to the end here and make a little bit of a pullback. Let's do a little bit of a pullback there. That's going to be fun. One here. I might add one there. These are so fun to add. All right. That's looking pretty good. So there's sort of like a little pink nubbin at the end. I'm going to come in and pull into these, kind of pulling back the branch. See how we're just giving it some definition? It's okay if you get back into the black and brown again. Coming underneath with the black and brown. I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of my yellow on here. And red. And I haven't rinsed off my brush if you've noticed. Don't know if you guys have noticed, but I haven't. Add a little bit of white. Just starting to paint this little branch. Okay. Now, I'm rinsing off, and then I will come back and kind of highlight in some shadows. Let's call that a step. Dry it, and I'll come back and show you how you finish the branch.
So yeah, it's unfortunate. I don't think you can. Thank you, Heather, for checking about. You can't change it. You know what? This will not be the last time we ask this poll. Probably before she picks the next thing that she paints too. So keep polling. We're gonna keep looking at this. I can't say that. Truth is, she's probably gonna paint both these things, all the things on there.
All the things.
It's just the way we.
All of the things. They're such good
Heather's
things.
like, we can't take our vote back. Don't take backsies.
Uh-oh. It's all right. Well, then see, you've got a campaign for people to vote what you were hoping for, and then see how that goes. Now I'm going to grab a number. Actually, do I want the number 10? Which one do I want? Are these all 10s? They're all 10s. Do I have a smaller than a 10? I do. I have a tiny one and a big one. I have a 4 round and a 10 round. I guess I'm going to size down to the 4 round because I do want a little more control. I'm going to come here into the white where I put a little cad red and orange over here. Some of the brown had gotten into it. It's giving us kind of like this ochre. I'm going to pull it a little more into yellow. And come on top of where the pink is. And add a little bit of that on top of that. Maybe tuck one in there. Anywhere there's a good bend, you can kind of add this. I don't want to paint out all the pink. That would not be my favorite to do. Again, this is the number 4 Textura. So you just want to, whatever brush you have, there are good rounds in the world, right? But whatever brush you have, you want rounds, you want brights, you want filberts, you know, you want some angst it up between your hog bristles and your synthetic. I will make that video imminently of what my particular affiliation of brushes actually is. I'm going to come in and highlight some of the tops of these. And that will actually help create kind of a little shading. I don't know where I was going with that. And now I'm going to take a little of the cad yellow over to my phthalo green. I'm going to add some of the burnt cyan and pop in that green. And you can see that that just starts to create a spring branch feel that is really quite lovely. You know, and I like to put a little bit here and there because some of the branch is green. That happens, doesn't it? You can always go back in.
It does.
And add a little bit of a shadow underneath. Look at our lovely little branch. Let's dry that. We're going to call that a step. And so far in brushes, we've got our number 4 Isabay Isacryl. We've got our 18 Hog Bristle Artney brush, bright. And then we have our Textura round. All of these are good acrylic brush lines. Yeah, by Raphael. Let's try this. Hey, you know what?
No, but I know who.
I think my Starbucks coffee ran out.
Ruh-roh, George.
Ruh-roh. Ruh-roh. What are we going to do?
Put the entire show on hold for 15 minutes while we run to the
Yeah, do you mind if I run to Starbucks real quick?
Duh.
Indicator that I would need more help.
So, yeah, if you guys, there's so many birds here, and Cinnamon's mom also has done birds. So, like, if you're like, I've painted flamingos with ginger, it's like Cinnamon's painted flamingos too. And if Cinnamon has painted hummingbirds, Ginger has painted hummingbirds. That's because they all like birds. They even did a bird thing together where they each did birds of a feather.
As birds of a feather?
You and your mom did some birds.
Oh my gosh, there's been so many birds.
There's been so many birds.
There's a bird playlist.
Yep.
There's a bird. You could go look to see what I'm missing. I haven't done a quail yet.
That's why it's in the list.
Yeah. It's a good thing, you know. It is. It's a very, very good thing.
Next
I
time.
likes it so much. Okay, next thing. Next thing. Wait, I lost my chat. I need my chat back, Don. It went away.
I
don't know what I did.
When the coffee runs out, the chat goes away.
When the coffee runs out, the chat goes away. We have to start painting in our birds for a little bit. Shall we do that together?
Do you want a cup of conventional coffee?
I mean, I'll take regular coffee if that's what we... Here's what. I'm going to put on some lipstick. You know what?
I can arrange it.
Let's get some lipstick on, because then we'll know we're here, still here. Makeup tutorial. Psh, no, just kidding. It's a cute lipstick, though, isn't it? The little heart in it. And it's a little heart. I'm not sponsored. They don't even talk to me. They only talk to beauty brands, but I like them. Have we put up a step? Okay. So I think that I'm going to start in with... I'm trying to decide if I want to debrush or just bright along. I think initially I'm going to bright along. This is a number 6 Simply Simmons Bright, and it is also a hog bristle brush. So you'll see that these are both hog bristle brushes, but they have some stuff in common. The numbers are crazily different between brush lines. It's insane. But you get kind of a sense of the size and scale of that. This one is obviously smaller. They have similar double crimped ferrules, but the important part here is that the length out isn't long. Sometimes they get a little long on braids on the length out, and I don't love it. Let's start painting the belly. I'm going to take a little bit of my Cad Red and my Quin Magenta. Maybe get a little kind of yellow into it. And I'm going to start coming here and painting what is going to be his little belly. I might add some ultramarine blue, and what that does is it sort of grays that out. Can you see that? And come along here kind of neatly from the branch. And I'm going to curve up. Come across there. This is just the beginning, you know. Get more into the pink. I don't need the purple yet. So just bringing that down there, it's kind of, I really love the sound of the brush on the canvas. It's just, boy, doesn't it just make it all work. I'm getting up there and I'm grabbing the one that's just maybe a little more yellow. And I'm going to come over there. So I'm just sort of loosely sketching out where I feel like this is going to be kind of the underpainting of him. It's really rather fun.
Looks like strong coffee, so it should be a test.
Okay. It was really strong?
It looks strong.
It's tasty.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Did we just have a butt first coffee moment? I'm going to grab a little bit of yellow here and add some white. I haven't rinsed my brush very much. I'm going to kind of dry brush over this area with that on the left-hand side. So I just grabbed the Cad Yellow Medium, not the light lemon yellow, but the Cad Yellow Medium, and added white to it without rinsing the brush, which gives me this sort of loaded brush. And I will come in and just sort of add some of that little yellowy glow. And maybe put some right here. It's just a start. It's just the beginning of our fabulous, hysterical, oh my gosh, do you love them birdie birds. When John comes back, we'll do another step. I want to thank Deborah Evans so much, and I want to thank Rebecca Clowers so much. How are you guys doing today? Let's take a deep breath. Do we have any questions? If not, I have a question for you guys.
I think that I was away, so we'll have to get to question next, but there's lots of...
What's your favorite thing to paint? While John's finding questions, I'd love to know from you guys, what's your favorite thing to paint? If you're here in the live, you can drop it in the live chat because I can read that later. But you can also leave it in comments after the show. What is your favorite thing to paint? Not like what do you want to paint next because it's missing on the wall, but when you're painting, what do you love?
A lot of interest in painting this in watercolor.
Oh, wow. My watercolor family is here.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta love my watercolor
catching
fam.
up on that a little bit. Definitely some of that here. Oh, and thank you so much. I've got so many messages of people here joining the patronage.
Thank you for joining the patronage here. Wow. Remember, write support at theartsherpa.com.
Oh, no, they go to our website and joining.
They're joining on our website. Yeah, you can join on YouTube or our website. You get the same benefits either way.
Thank you, Erica.
But YouTube doesn't automatically hook you into all the benefits. So you want to go by, if you join at YouTube, to our website to get in. If you just want to be straight in, you just go to the website. I just have the YouTube one because sometimes, you know, that might feel like more secure billing. I don't know. Some people ask for it, so I offered it. Yeah. All right. Are we ready to get in?
We're super appreciative. We're step 7 appreciative.
We're step 7 appreciative. All right. I'm going to come in and I think I'm going to add a little bit of my quinacridone magenta again to my cad red. And I'm going to come right under here. Just kind of think a little bit about under the throat. Oh, my screen went away.
It's still good though. I'll come fix it.
Is it still good? Okay.
This is one of the buggies.
Parts of it. I'm going to bring this down here. So that's just a little bit of that worked there. This is just sort of laying in the basic bird. He needs some basic, you know, under feathers. You really do. And so it's nice to be able to get that going. Now I'm going to take a little of my lemon yellow over to my phthalo green. I'm wiping my hog bristle brush over on the paper towel to just sort of offload. Again, we're just blocking in.
This is one of those things. Sorry.
There's more to do, but this is just that first sort of like, where does the green go? Now I know I've got lots I can do up here. In the details, but I'm just saying. This is that loose sort of, oh, there's a bird here. And it has these basic colors. And this is what it is. I'm just kind of leaning more into my phthalo green at this point. Let's come around. So we're really just getting the white painted back. Notice that?
I do.
So that's what we've done is we've just painted away the white and we're kind of thinking about the shape of our bird. I'm going to go ahead and put aside my hog brushes for a second and draw this.
More drying.
I'm going to sip my coffee because I'm telling you
let's
sip
before we go on.
I'm going to be like, I had a week.
You know what should make you feel good? Is our huge family who's come and painted with us today. It is so nice.
It does. It does. I needed, like, as much as you might be needing these birds this weekend, I need these birds this weekend. I need these birds this weekend.
I needed to see all of our friends in chat and say hello. Hello.
Very, very much. Very, very, very much.
Cinnamon. I gave her a mute button, so now she's gonna spray it all over the place. But
I'm gonna spray what all over the place?
Your coffee. I make you joke.
Texture. Have you seen that on the shorts? People painting with coffee, they go splat, and then they outline the coffee, and then they color a page, and it's 134 million views, and I thought to myself,
I've seen painting with far too many things.
I thought to myself, for 134 million views, I'll splat a cup of coffee. So if you see it, you love it. Don't you unsubscribe because it's not a tutorial. You love it. I'm going to throw some real art at them.
Okay.
I bought some things today They're on the fast delivery.
Okay.
It's going to be emotional. It's going to get some of my feelings out. It's art for art's sake.
Well,
You
then-
guys are going to be like, that was some weird Sherpa.
There we go. Oh, man.
It's going to be short, though. So it's
Okay.
only a minute. You'll survive it.
A minute.
A minute.
That's what you get. You get 1 minute of crazy. Ta-da-ta-da. Thank you guys. Man, it really is nice to see everybody out here in chat. So big art hugs to all of yous. And a big art hug to all of the moderators who make our community a safe and loving place. They have these wonderful hammers of banning, and whenever a troll rears its ugly head.
Did we have a troll?
No.
Oh.
That's because we have a perimeter of mods with hammers of banning.
Well, and oh, thank you, Robin, Irby, thank you so much. And keep in mind, our mods are really not troll hunters. That's just their side gig. Their real job is ambassador to help you find the 15 bazillion videos that I've made, or resources or blogs or something that will help you. But on occasion, if they're lucky, somebody comes and tries to span us, and they get to see who hits with the mod hammer first.
It's a rarity, but it is a bit of a.
They loves it.
I don't know.
I'm almost sad for them when it doesn't happen. I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. There's just no trolls today. All right, let's continue on. I'm going to get back into my filbert because remember what I said? I love feathers and I love filberts and all of that. I'm going to come here and I'm going to pull out half my lemon yellow and half my cad yellow. And I'm going to go ahead and smidge it with a little bit of brown. And then I'm going to get a bit of white into it. I'm going to come along the sides. And I'm going to add a bit of a, this is a halo that will show up along him. I'm adding a little bit of white. I'm just using the shape of the brush to help me maybe talk a little bit about that feathered edge. I'm going to come in the middle and just start to drag up a little bit at beginning. And you'll notice that the shape of the brush is almost that shape, right? Let's come here and belly him up. Just the beginnings. He's got sharper edges on the side, so. Now it's real fun because what I can do is I can come here with this and get a little bit of purple in there and kind of gray that out, if you're seeing. Before I even that kind of pulls some like unexpected wonderfulness in his feathers. Let's add that to the kind of shadowed down. So we're starting to talk about shape here is what we're doing.
Okay, so what we're doing, I'm going to say Celtic Peasant did the most wonderful, like, on-theme thing and sent 20 loonies to visit us. So thank you, Celtic
I love a
Peasant.
loony. I want loonies.
And then there's the toonies, so it could have been.
Oh, you meant Canadian money. I thought we just meant genuine loonies.
No.
Not that they're not the same. No offense. Because the first time you go to the loony store, you're like, really? I get to shop at the loony store?
Like, woohoo! It's like, no, it's like that's.
I did quinacridone magenta docs, purple, and a little bit of titanium white. I can smidge some yellow into it to gray it just a titch, but you do want it to be still quite purple. See how that's just kind of in there? Just a lovely little, it's a pop. Look at that, little purple feathers that are popping down there. A little bit under the tail. You know, this one, maybe get a little, I'll put a little blue into it to cool it. A little ultramarine blue. And you'll notice right away that that cools it into a shadow. This is sort of a color mixing class on a regular day. Look at that go. It's looking so good. Let's rinse out. get a little bit of white into, this mixes the quinacridone magenta and the cad red. I think I want to go a little more cad red with that. I'm getting more coral. You can see that warms it up. Popping some in there. I'll pop a little coral on the belly.
You know, coral and
Run
pearl.
the coral down the tail.
Those are great names.
Hmm?
Coral and pearl. I always thought those were pretty sea
We
names.
are the crystal gems. I can't sing, so don't worry. I won't sing. I'll sing a little bit. I'll threaten it, but then it won't happen, so you're okay. So this is really just the quinacridone magenta, my cad red, and a little bit of white. It gives me nice coral. Oh, it went away again. What is going on?
It's an elusive color.
No, I mean the camera went away on me again.
Oh, man, that's because...
Notice that I'm just pulling this along the sides, and it gives you that little feather texture right there.
I believe that SDI cables are
Don't
made...
love us?
No, they're made in some factory where they randomly, like,
Go up into those feathers there.
implant a self-destruct element so
Yeah.
that, you know...
I'm going to get some white and yellow in there just to be playful.
Because that stupid brand new cable is just...
It is not doing
it's
it,
not
is
doing
it?
it. No, it's all not... I'm gonna,
All right, let's dry this because that was a lot to do. A lot of color work there. We're almost done with the belly.
okay, try it.
When it finishes, it'll finish fast.
And the birds. These are the cutest birds. I like birds on a branch, hanging out together. And one of the great things is that if you do like these 8x8s, they make a wonderful collection on a wall. You can grid them out, whether it's 2x2, 3x3, 4x4. It just gets prettier and prettier and prettier. The more of those you have, and if you have, you can swap them around in the different arrangements to make a larger statement about your art collection. It's really fun. Sorry.
I'm going to take my
Is this a new
lemon yellow and my white here.
New step.
Yes, new step. Maybe tone it with a bit of my cad yellow. And we're going to come here and start to pull some brighter feathers. You can see the upward stroke. We leave areas between these strokes to show what's underneath. You can see that brightens it up quite a lot. And that does, you know, really give us a, I'm going to get a little more cad yellow in there. Maybe add a little bit to the under part of his tail. Get a little more white. Just playing with the yellow is a lot of fun for me.
Now,
And I might get a little more yellow in as I go up again.
Deborah asks a great question.
Great question, Deborah. I can't wait to hear your great question.
I have a follow-up to Deborah's question.
Okay.
Okay. She wants to know, could we use a grainer brush for the feathers?
You can absolutely always use a grainer brush for the feathers.
And I want to know what a grainer brush is.
A grainer brush, and this is one of the ones in my brush bucket. This is a Filbert grainer, 3/8 inch by Princeton. And the ends of it have been trimmed out unevenly so that it does amazing fur and feathers and scales and all kinds of natural textures, bark. It does a lot of things. You can make your own by just getting a filbert and taking hair trimming scissors and kind of doing that same little thing where you piece it out. It's whatever you want to do.
That sounds like a warranty voiding activity.
It totally voids your warranty. He is right. I'm going to add a little more white here to the belly. If you trim your brushes at any point,
well, that's,
you're just done. They're done with you. They're going to break up with you for sure.
But I think that's okay. I mean, like, for as long as, I'm relatively new to the learning art stuff.
I'm going to go back into my beige. You see my beige, which was a little of my cad red, my cad yellow, my burnt sienna, and white.
It does seem that artists have a long history of modifying their brushes.
Every brush, here's some dish for you. All of the brushes that you see out there designed by the brush companies were for the most part created by artists. Now I just took that whole mix over here to my purple because I'm just wild like that, right? Just using the fact that they're contrasting colors to play, you know. Could be fun to do a little something bright. So I'll get back into my coral, which is my Quinn and my Cad Red and my titanium white. You can even get into some yellow into it if you want. Put a little pink there. It's always nice to just touch with a little bit of fun color. Just something playful. You know, what you want. What you want. I like to just kind of keep the tails engaged. All right, that is the belly. We get to start getting up into the faces and the green, and we are like whipping through this painting.
I have a
We're
tip.
like nearly done. Do you want me to?
No, you go ahead. Yeah. Merlene, not calling you out. Oh no, but Merlene, if your video is blurry, or anyone else who's blurry, got blurry video for that matter. If your video is not nice and sharp, go down to the little, there's a little gear. And if you click on the gear and then go up to quality, it's going to be the first option. It'll show your quality. Sometimes if it's on auto or any of the lower settings, it'll be really pixely. But if you go all the way up where it says 1080p 60 HD, then all of a sudden you will be seeing this in full HD. And
I need a microwave.
we'll get that in just a second. I have to give you a step first.
Step me. So what we're going to do is we're going to work in here and right here. So John will get you focused on that. We're going to work right here and kind of set the beaks. You zoom in a little?
Yeah. But I can't take your coffee.
Well, no. I was like, before you left. That's all. Okay. So we're going to come right in here, and I'm going to take my ultramarine blue and my Mars black together. And I'm going to come here where I had the beak started, okay? Very carefully. This is, again, that number 4 round. I'm thickening it up top, and I'm taking the beak a little bit into his head. I'm adding water to sort of thin it out. You could also do fluid paint or paint pen or something if you're having a lot of trouble with the lines. That is okay. And sometimes I'll come back and trim around, so that works as well for me. I'm going to take a little bit of white into this mix. I'm going to come along the top. Very carefully with the number 4 round. This is number 4. Much smaller than the Art Sherpa number 4, right? And I'm just going to two-tone that beak. Two-tone in it. See how we're doing? Now while I've got that here, I'm going to come into my phthalo green and my ultramarine blue. And I'm going to work just a little bit up his head like that. Oh, wonderful. Thank you. So I'm coming up there. Come back this way. Go ahead and get some purple maybe started. Kind of working under the little beak there where there's going to be a throating. Maybe get back into the magenta. Kind of outline that with some greens. That sort of gives his specific face shape some, relevance there. Yeah, sip my coffee. Oh, that's really good.
Yeah. This is looking really pretty.
It's coffee break time.
I like the green and the
Coffee
red.
break time is an important time. Take a deep breath with me. Wherever you are in the painting, whether you're here for the live, you're repainting after, take a deep breath, let it out, and I want you to pay attention to how your body feels. Do you feel tension in your neck, your shoulders, your joints? Are you feeling fatigue? When you're painting, you will lose track of your body. Where you live. You live there all the time. Nowhere else to live but this body. So you got to sometimes stop and pay attention to it because it might be giving you a message. And when you're painting, it's really hard to get through to you. It is. So you've got to stop every once in a while and go, am I good? I have been in the wrong position for hours and then moved and been like, oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, you got to stretch and make sure.
Yeah. I sit for this whole time, but honestly, at least every hour you should get up, stretch, walk around, move around a little bit just for your health, just for your well-being. Make sure you kind of get all the little things moved. Otherwise you can, really accidentally miss your physical needs.
Yeah.
Right,
Is this the same
come
step?
here.
We're doing a new step.
Nope, same step.
Oh.
I just was sipping my coffee. We're not speed painting. I have that already on the channel. You need to see this in 1 minute. I got it. Now I bring this into here too. That one goes deep into his face as well. I rinse off, and you see me wipe off with a towel. That's just making sure I don't have a hidden drop of water just sitting on my round brush waiting to mess with me. I'm going to bring that gray down the top of the beak, and you see that leaves just that sliver of dark. That's going to help me really shape that out. I'm going to grab some of my red here. Flickering a little bit out. Let's get some of the purple that we've got over there. It's kind of nice. It was that yellow and purple. I like to look for things on the palette that I can use. That's something that you might do as a professional artist that you don't necessarily do as a beginner, is look at paint you've already mixed that could work somewhere really well. Sometimes I like to do that. I'm going to go ahead and get my little phthalo blue going. Give him a little bit of a fluffy head there for a second. Kind of tip the top of that little head. Come down into my little green. And remember I said I was going to thicken him up a bit? This is what I meant. I'll go ahead and green that out a bit. Just finding his little shape. Okay, let's give that a dry. Come back, we'll do another step.
Another step?
Yeah, so many steps.
So many steps. We're just stepping. Just get the steps going. Because the next step is the next step of the birds. And we're getting really close. You don't want to miss the end of the birds, because that's where the birds come together. Because right now, it's like, these are some crazy looking birds, and that's the underpainting stage. And this happens a lot in acrylic. There's this middle ground where you're like, what am I doing here? And it's normal, because in acrylic paintings you have to get through that center stage where you're painting in all the middle grounds and the mid things, and that's why Cinnamon laughs coming in, because she already knows what I'm talking about.
I do. So I'm taking a little bit of my burnt sienna into my phthalo green. All right, we've got that going there, and I'm going to add a little initially cad yellow to it. Let's go into the cad yellow first, and then we'll actually do the lemon yellow in a minute. But we're going to come here, and we're going to come down his little body with our filbert. See how we're bringing that down, little feathers. Just a little hint. That happens. There's a hint. Bringing those up. come around to that far side. I like to sort of curl some of these in. See, I'm curling that brush stroke in, just a little bit curved, just the beginning of that green. Now I can get right into my lemon yellow. And I want to start talking about that other green. Gonna add some of that right there. Get some white going. That's almost like minted. Back into my other green. Just starting to think about these colors. I'm going to rinse out. So I'm going to take a little of my green and my lemon yellow. I'm going to make some very bright colors, and I'm going to get some white involved in that. Can you see that? Bring that up. I know I'm going to come back with, you know, bits of my magenta over that, but I want to get some iridescence going. Just grabbing a little more phthalo and trying to pull some of that feather, fantastic feather fanaticism. I'm going to wipe my brush off on my paper towel, and I'll go into my yellow and green and titanium white. And you can see that it just gives me these lighter feathers. Very light right there. There's a hint of green to it, for sure. But there's these highlights. That's sort of how we get to the shine. When we're trying to get to the shine on the feathers, it's a lot about being able to pull through a lot of values and temperatures of green. Now I'm going to take my sort of phthalo green right here. I'm going to go ahead and get my cad red and my quinacridone magenta together. And sort of pull that implied wing. You guys kind of see that there? It's just implied. Little dark pop. Rinsing out. Let's get a little of our phthalo blue and our titanium white on the brush. Popping a little blue there. A little bit right there. Maybe a couple little bits right here. Just like playing throughout. Okay. Now let's dry this. As you can see, our birds are getting quite fat and cute and fluffy. Well, I might actually. I like to kind of, there we go. Just a little bit of those feathers sort of hidden into that blend, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So that you see how, because they do that. They sort of blend themselves into stuff. So I like to make sure that we're, there we go. Just a little bit more kissing of the green around the bird. Rinsing out, drying off, sipping coffee, knowing that the world is good, knowing that we are okay. And if we're not okay right at the moment, knowing that we are enough to find our way through our current challenge.
Step by step.
Step by step.
Isn't that cool? You have little steps. Be like, got all the little steps right there to help us along the way. And if you need, on the website, in the links in the description down below, it's probably our website. If not, you can just go to theartsherpa.com. We have mini books there. You can find out. This one will be there in a couple weeks or so.
Yeah,
maybe
about
less.
7 to 14 days after the show, there's a mini book, and that is the written instructions that match everything that I said, talks about all the tools that I used, has step-by-step photos that we are doing that matches the video.
Can I big shout out to Honey, who has been doing a fantastic job with the step photos? And
Yes,
just, like,
my eldest child, Honey, has been doing the step photos.
and just been like
Nailing it.
totally getting them all caught up. So we're a lot faster on our books now because
True that.
I'm not doing it, and
You're so glad you're not doing it. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of, again, my phthalo green and my burnt sienna. I don't want a lot of water on here.
Where are you going to paint at first?
And I'm going to paint right here.
All right.
I'm going to kind of bring this up. Sort of on the outside edge of that. Sometimes it's hard to get that green kind of like that I'm going to build on because I've got to do this purple around. And it's very important to have that there. Now I'm going to sneak over here. Load up some of this deep green. And this will let me really pop some nice bright colors over the top of it, which is sort of fun. Ooh, I got a little bit into it there. A little too into it. I'm going to rinse out. Taking a little bit of my green and let's get some cad yellow. That's a wonderful one, isn't it? Let's come here and now I know that the pink's going to come over this. When I need to do small little feathers, sometimes I bring it to the edge. And back into the green, but with the light on it. Don't their little feathers just shine? Just got a little more of the lemon yellow in there. Some white. Just like to make sure that I've got that bright. It's not doing terrible. Okay. Dry, new step, sip coffee.
Yes.
Dry, new step, sip coffee, we are nearly done.
Dry.
New step, sip coffee, we are nearly done.
That's like she makes songs all the time. She's just a singinist of the singinist. And I like it. I like when, all of the family is singers. Little Luna is running around, la 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 la, all the time just singing her head off, and it's just cute as can be. I don't mind it at all. New step.
New step.
As I waxed Phyllis.
New step. And we're going to get into our round brush. Huh?
I was talking about Luna walking through the house singing. Sing, sing, sing.
Where could she have gotten that? I don't know. Actually, the music comes from John and John's side of the family.
I don't know. I think
musical.
I think that everybody is intrinsically musical. It's just whether or not they have been cultivated in music. Just like art, just
My
like painting.
piano teacher fired me.
But
I'm just saying.
But isn't the whole thing like, don't they take the crayons away from kids at some point too?
I guess so, boy. They took the singing away from me. All right, so I've got my number 4, and I'm going to come here into my throat. I'm going to use similar brush strokes that I was doing with the filbert and begin to, you know, start to jewel up Mr. Cutie Patooty's beautiful little throat here.
Gonna bedazzle him.
He's bedazzled. Let's bring some of the bedazzling over here, shall we?
You know, that you know, sent me down a little memory lane of like, do you remember puff paint?
Yeah.
Like you could like if you could find like an old puff paint pen and then like use that on a canvas. And you know, it's like not archival for sure, that stuff. I don't even know if it was like, it may be prohibited by law now. Cause that was
it's still okay. I think I'm going to add a little more white to this.
anything that has magical properties I wonder about.
Squishy bath. All right, so I'm adding a little more cad red. We're getting into sort of this great. I'm going to bring some of these little feathers down into the green. And we're going to definitely bring some of that over here. There's a lot of color in the jewel of the throat. I did just sort of. Adding a little bit of yellow and white. Just right there in the center, a little yellow and white. Now to do this one, I definitely have to dry it and come back. So we'll call that a layer because we're having to actively dry. So let's actively dry.
What was that there? Oh, okay, got it. Good. Links to the mini books there. How to use a traceable. Thank you, Moderator Rainbow, and everyone dropping all the links and helping out. Whew, that's a loud noise. Whoop. So, what she doesn't know. If you, I'll have to explain it later. Technical things. Ready for the next step?
Technical things. If I mute it, it unmutes it.
It does.
If I, oh no.
So if I mute you manually here like this, and then you unmute it, it's okay. But I always have my finger on the mute, so like I like if I see you doing it while I'm doing it, I know to do it to re-hit it.
Thank you for telling me.
That's what
I'm taking my quinacridone over to my Doc's purple, and I'm loading that up a little bit, getting a nice soft purple over here. That's just horrifying.
No, it's okay. We got you.
Definitely want some purple over here. And then maybe a little darker in the purple over here. Come over here and start to purple it up. Purpling up these little throat areas is very important. A little bit cooler with the ultramarine blue. Doesn't that do a nice job cooling it? Now, I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow. And actually, let's put out some fluid white. Because you can thin your white with water, but fluid white just makes all of that just super easy. So you could thin your heavy bodied paint with water, but I'm going to take fluid white because it's super pigmented and it will let me do some high coverage so this is like a shimmer in the center there. What is happening? And we got to get going. We got a shimmer. I like the shimmer. Again, still just using, this is a great brush. This number 4 Raphael Texture is a great brush. They're proud of these brushes, but it is a good brush. The Sydney Art Store, if you're in Australia, is running a crazy sale right now on the old Art Sherpa brushes. It still seems super pricey to me. I feel like they're charging y'all in Australia too much, and that's saying something with the whole world having inflation. You know? It's a little. I'm going to take maybe a little of this white over to my phthalo blue and phthalo green, and it kind of makes a nice little turquoise. A little bit under the chin there. Quite a light one here. Kind of creates that little light in that blue, doesn't it? And bring some of that dust all the way down. I might even come over to my green and get some involved there. And then I'll wipe off my brush and grab some of my black. And I'll just make sure that the bottom half of this is still kind of nice, clean aspect. Using the fluid paint really lets me get on top and create that next highlight level. I haven't rinsed out my brush. So I want something darker, so I rinsed my brush out all the way. I'm coming back with black. There we go. Starting to get that nicely done. Okay, so let's call that a step. Dry everything. We're going to come back and finish up their cute little heads.
Excellent. So, thank you guys. Thank you for being part of our art family, for being here with us today, for hanging out and painting. Don't forget, if you have painted a painting, you can come and join our Facebook group and post up that painting and share it with all of our friends. And that's fun to do.
It is fun to do.
So here is the... Do you think this is going to be our last step?
No, because there's eyes and feathers.
15th step.
Huh?
The 15th.
Okay, it's okay. Well, I'm just breaking this down into small bits. I'm going to
go
go ahead and add a little white and pink to my brush here. Just for a second, I'm going to just pop a little bright highlight on my flowers. Just something, you know, that gives them a little pop. I just like pops. You'll be amazed at how much just a little contrasting just helps. All right, we're gonna have to deal with some eyes, my friends. And come here. I'm gonna get some black just on the tip of my brush. Here's the beak. I'm gonna come back to right about here. Again, if you had the traceable, this is done for you. And I'm going to bring this down in kind of a deep circle right here. That's the positioning of that eye. Coming over here, and come back from the beak right about there. And position the eye there, but it's more direct at us and more round that way. Now, my cad yellow and my phthalo green and a little bit of my burnt umber. And then a little burnt umber and phthalo green over here. I've just got the highlight and the low light, and I'm going to start coming through here, sort of talking about these little tiny feathers, just still using my number 4. This is all darker over here. I'll show you the trick to get the little ridge around, but you got to get this working first. And it should come to the back of the head. Someday I dream to be an Audubon painter. I wonder if that's possible. I don't know. How many birds do I have to teach the world to paint before I become a bird ambassador? I don't know.
I think that you already are a bird ambassador, and I hope we get to do like 1 billion more birds.
Just all the birds.
There are so many birds we couldn't possibly paint them all, but I would like to try.
I'm
Each
doing
individual bird.
a similar little bit here, but will be slightly different in positioning and coloring than the other. Let's get over into our yellow.
I'm going to start with all birds named Fred.
All birds named Fred?
They get to go to the front of the line.
Fred's the front? Why is Fred the front?
Because it's Saturday.
Put some little feathers here. These are a little bit greener, right? Down there. Sometimes I go up to my yellow to brighten it. That's very bright green. And then I will come here and do little touches. Let's come up over his little eye. But with that, a little bit of that bright green. I like to come down with little feathers. Super exciting to me. Why? I don't know, but it is super exciting. Okay. Now, I'm going to rinse out. I'm going to get into, it's like a little black and green. And it's going to be on the tippy toe. Okay. Rinse out for a second.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know. It's getting to be a thing, isn't it? We're going to start with a little bit of blue. Phthalo blue and a little bit of white. We'll start there. We won't stay there, but we'll start there. All right, we're going to come here. Similar deal. Now I might take this blue over to my lemon yellow and my white. And we're getting just some ranges of like crazy highlighted mix here. For just the front of the head. Maybe here too as well. Okay, let's dry that because that's a lot to deal with and add some more little details.
It's the little details that really bring the birds together. And thank you guys. Thank you for hanging out and being here. I know I said that earlier, but I like it. And for all of you who have not had a chance to join us in chat, please do. It's a lot of fun. There's lots of chatness.
Chatty chatness.
All right, now you ready?
Chatness.
For
We're
the next
really down.
stepist.
We're the next stepist. We're going to come in and take a little bit of our white, and it's okay if it's got a little bit of ultramarine blue in it or gray in it, but really it's going to be mostly white, and I'm using the fluid toe of the brush, making sure there's no hidden drops. Little tiny, just the toe of the brush feathers right there. Very important. And then coming off of here, little tiny toe of the brush feathers coming up to the eye. Just enjoying that so much. I'm going to rinse out. Really make sure that I brush. Come back with just a little bit of the phthalo green. Little tiny dots of the dark blue. A little bit of turquoise. It's coming back. Right in the center, maybe even another little highlight of that turquoise just to help it raise off the little head. Come over here, do the same thing. A little bit. Little white, and I still had blue on my brush, and I'm just creating little variants of feathers for him, right? Yeah, he's got his little black there, and let's get a little green up here. Just showing some of what he's got going on. Colorful little birdie. But we don't want to lose the black. So you can see how we give little bits of color here, there, here, there, here, there, here, there. Okay, another thing that you can do, do you remember the background color? Which was the ultramarine and the quinacridone magenta and a ton of white.
Can I be honest?
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you reminded me.
Because this is a way that you can kind of also, if you need to trim any part of the beak, you can come back with that and trim in. Sometimes it's easier to get a sharp edge. Trimming in. If you need it. Let's dry everything. Genuine last steps.
Just dry this and then
dry this.
We're getting so close to... It's everything all down. Whoop. I pulled my mic out. Sorry about that. Down to detailing of the detail brush, she says. Oh, I know what I gotta do. I gotta get the next step ready because I gotta manually load the steps. That was this one. Okay. Now we're ready for it. Watch it.
Okay.
You ready for the next step?
I am.
Look, I'm all prepared.
I got some new detail brushes burning a hole in my
Don't tell her
brush bucket. So this is a Precision #2 liner, right? So I really like that. Riggers, liners, monogram liners. It's just a nice long length out with a good firm filament that holds paint. I'll go ahead and, kind of rinse the sizing out of it because it's new.
What sizing?
It is a starchy substance that they affix your brushes with. And come here and kind of tap out just a few little dots.
Is that why they come all stiff and pointy when you buy them?
That's why they come all stiff and pointy when you buy them. So that's that little reflection on there. Put a little reflection at the top of the beak. Now, I'm going to take my white. I'm going to come here and up above his eye, made a little gray. Underneath, okay. Looking pretty good. I'll come back with some black because you can actually thin it out an amazing amount. The trick with the little detail brushes is you have to watch for hidden water drops that find their way down the ferrule. They go to rinse it and they're hiding up here and they come down and they just mess you up. I'm grab a little bit of this on my brush. It's a gray. Go ahead and add that right there. Right there. One right here. And there. We're going to let that have a seat for a second. I did the thing where I rinsed out, checking for drops. Come underneath and get right into that beak. You can do a Posca pen if you're having a little trouble with your lining. Now, we're going to go down to the feet. You ready to go down to the feet? Start on this foot. Ah, the struggle that is hummingbird feet. One center line. I mean, a shorter curving in center line, and then another little line joining up. That is that whole nonsense. It's that hard. And I get that. And sometimes it's nice to do with a pen or something. Nothing else you can do. Except know that they are tiny, delicate, little teeny tiny, ridiculous feet. Easier to thicken lines than thin it, so I tend to approach it very slowly. Very slowly. Let's put some here. If you're going to paint wildlife, you need some detail brushes. You need some good brushes. The heavy lifting, like that background I did, or any of that, but you need a handful at least of good details. It's a precision little job. You'll notice that I taper them. They get a little narrow as they come down, and they tend to all sort of come together.
Precision landing gear.
Yeah, it really is. It is precision landing gear. I'm going to come back up to the eye, babe.
All right. Oh, wait. Not that button. That one.
Going to add some of my black. Kind of to the bottom here. All right. I just rinsed off, dried off, and now I'm going to get into my white. Go ahead and add some little bright reflection dots kind of coming up there. All right, those are like shines. I'm in the fluid paint, right? High, bright white reflection in the gray. And a couple on the eye. I know. Yep.
Get real close on that one.
Okay. Get real close on that one. And come over here. There we go. It was a lot. Now go back down to the feet, get close. I'm going to take some of this fluid again over to my black. So I do want it to be pretty bright.
Where are you going?
Right there.
Oh, too fast.
It moves fast now because it's way up there.
Boy, it's just, I know. You know, and sometimes I have to come back with black. And I imagine you're like, these feet are kidding. It's okay. We have to go over to Mr. Otherbird.
There's been many people saying, you are the bomb diggity, and I must tell you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that very, very much. I don't take my gray line all the way down because it kind of ends up looking a little bit like he's got nails. And we all need that. I'm resting my hands on the table. Let me tell you, I'm using the table like a bridge, like nobody's business. I'm grabbing a little bit of my black again. I'm going to come back over to the first feet, which will have had some type of dry. Just going to make sure that they have, you know, sort of a delicate little feature. That I didn't make a hot mess of them, highlighting them all the way. And then believe it or not, we have one more highlight. I'm going to rinse out. This is going to be such a thing. What happened there is that drop. Remember I told you about that drop?
The drops.
It got the drop on me.
Oh no.
These are just a couple touches of the highlights. Is it fussy? Yeah, it's fussy.
Candy would like to know if there's an owl tutorial.
The only reason I laugh is because there's so many
There's
owls.
so many
It's
owls.
the very first thing I painted on YouTube
like-
a bazillion years ago.
Yes, it was
It's like the elephant video. It's like the first thing I did. And I've done several owls.
families of owls.
Yep.
Owl
Cute,
friends.
cartoonish owls, realistic owls, owl eyes.
Owl hats.
Great owl eye from this last 13 days of Halloween. It was a fantastic owl eye.
There's
I
owlish,
felt.
gnomish.
Yeah, it was a whole thing.
So many things.
All right,
owls.
now just looking, let's back up. Let's do some nice little touch. I feel like on his tail, I'm taking my filbert. I want to come down and just add a little kiss of green. And a little kiss of green, just so that it's... But other than that, guys, time to sign.
Time to sign.
Yeah, I did sign in white, and that's just because I didn't want the signature to take away. You don't have to do that. You could sign in a darker color. I wouldn't be mad at you. I just wanted to be like, it's on there, but it's like, it's barely on there. Oof! My goodness, did we do this or what?
Well, you did it and I watched.
Okay, so I literally cannot wait to see yours. I think yours is going to be fantastic. The website will have the reference from the original painting. You can get the traceable over there. The Art Sherpa official group, share this in any stage that you're at, right? You got questions, you need support, you need people to be like, we love you and you can paint this and we know that you can. Whatever you need like that, just bring this tutorial in there and be like, I'm here if you just want to show it off when you're done. If you need a place to share it so the person you're giving it to doesn't see it. If you have a story about why hummingbirds are meaningful to you and you want to share it in a private space, it's just a closed group that we monitor. Not always perfectly. We're goofs. We're humans. Sometimes we make mistakes. Like, honestly, I have so many tutorials that there is occasionally someone who drops a tutorial that nobody remembers I did.
Wait, did we do this one?
But I mean, we do stuff. It's 24 hours. The group is 24 hours a day and everyone can't remember. But even if we make a mistake, generally we catch it. We can come back and you'll hear from me personally. I will apologize. It is a really good group of just the nicest people. And we don't allow no nonsense in there. There is the patronage. You can join here on YouTube. You can join on the website. There is the Art Sherpa retreat this fall with my mother. It is a bit like a week of eating with me and painting with me and eating with my mom and painting with my mom all day. And you don't even have to bring art materials. We provide everything you need. You get all your art materials, your brushes, everything. You get to take a bunch of it home, including a ton of art. It's watercolor, it's acrylic, I think mom does artist knife, has an art knife class. We bring in an extra kind of fun craft that you can do. We feed you like you're a hobbit. You eat all day, and there's snacks all day. I starve a nobody, and it's at one of the resorts. It's the Shawnee and the Poconos. So you can check that out. It's got a cool historic for golf.
And there's s'mores.
And there's s'mores, and we're going to be doing it during fun time. Yeah, we do s'mores. We can get pictures with me, and you can talk to me, and we just are there constantly. And honestly, given the cost, you know how everything in the universe went up, we didn't even do that with this. So last year we can probably do it, but
we were really like, and this time we're bringing more hobby things to do.
Yeah.
Because
It's
really nice.
Probably the last year we could even do it at this price with inflation and everything, but we just felt like
we locked in the prices, and they were like, yeah, we can still do it for that for all the stuff we agreed to, and we were like,
which hopefully they won't change their mind. But regardless, that's your deal. So you can find those tickets on the artsherpa.com if you like My Mom Ginger Cook, or if you like me and you want to paint with us all day, constantly, that's where you would do that. If you want to do watercolor with me, I have watercolor classes over on the watercolor channel. You can find the watercolor playlist here if you're having trouble finding the watercolor channel. And there's a lot of fun projects over there. I've got my own weird custom set of watercolor sheets from Aviva that you can get with line and wash if you're not ready to draw yet. I want you guys to draw. You don't have to draw. You can learn that when you're ready to learn it in your own time, when you feel confident. There are people, they happen to me. Jonathan of Jonathan and Jesus came into my last short, which was a watercolor, and I use a ruler to get my lines crisp, and was like, a true artist never uses a ruler. And I just thought, one, I don't hold anyone else responsible for this. So like, I was like, gosh, Jonathan thinks he's in charge of art. That's extraordinary. What ego do you have to have when you get up to think you're in charge of art?
Maybe he has an art cop license that we don't
He's
know.
an art cop, and he's there. And we all have art cops in our lives. And one of the largest communities of art cops are people who tell you to be a true artist. I love these people. To be a true artist, you have to do blah-de-blah, most often draw.
He could also be an art teaching drill sergeant.
No, I'd take that over an art cop any day. I think it's super hyper pretentious to tell somebody that something has to be done so they can be a real artist.
There's definitely not just one way.
Ridiculous thing to say. And I don't even need to. I could have gone through and in an art history way just ripped apart his argument where every master on the planet used, because you know what rulers help you do? They help you draw a straight line. I love it when people just freehand a straight line, but not everybody has that hand-eye coordination. And you'd have to go back and say, well, Chuck Close wasn't a real artist. I mean, what a ridiculous. Anyways, so in your life, people may have said to you, tracing is cheating and you have to draw. Here's what I want you to do with that. Put a pin in it. Ridiculous statement. Let's know that it's that. Drawing is fun, and I hope you'll learn to draw because it's enjoyable. I like drawing, but it is not the gateway into painting. It is not what you have to do, and using the traceables just fine. As you saw, we paint out a lot of stuff. You get there anyways, but you get there in a safe way. So just know that that's my mission to give you permission to go to art cops anywhere. Just go, just like whatever. If that makes you feel better, because the world has just decided it's going to tell half the world how to live all the time now. All the time. And the only way that we're going to retain our right to be individuals is if we say, I'm sorry. I respect that you want to do things differently than me, but I'm going to keep doing me. So you don't want to draw, don't draw. But I do think it's fun and you should totally draw. But if you don't want to, it's okay. That's my statement. And, I was going to write a book to Jonathan and then decided not to.
Let's make mini books instead.
Yeah, I decided to do other art projects instead. But he almost got a piece of my mind. Sometimes they get a piece of my mind. But today I didn't have a piece of my mind to spare. I'm too wrapped up in my world.
Single-minded.
I'm too single-minded. So, there is next Tuesday. As I put on my lipstick. Try that, Jonathan. Next Tuesday, we're going to do some technique tune-up. We're going to paint a cosmos flower, and I'm going to show you how you orient a circular thinking to create that flower and how you curve the petals and everything. It's just the flower. That's all we're painting is the flower in white. What?
Martina wants to know, please say again where we can share our paintings.
the Art Sherpa official group on Facebook. You can also tag me on Instagram, hashtag the Art Sherpa, and you can share there if you want to. But the closed group is on Facebook. There's a
and
then there's the group for which I have no opinions, and it's just art all the time, art curated and moderated. We don't do religion, we don't do politics, we just do art.
Moderator Rainbow just dropped a link there for you.
There, okay. And so that's the three things. If you hear me having a midnight insomnia thought about the internet, that's my personal page. Don't worry about it. Just unfollow it and go back over to the group. Or maybe you like my opinion and you're like, yes, I too agree that Cinnabons should not be online after 12 p.m. because it's unfair for the health conscious, right? You might be like, I too agree that icing dripping down at 1 a.m. when you can't sleep is not cool. Or you might be like, I don't really need to know what you think about icing. So wherever you're at on that, because you know what I think is okay? I think it's okay for you to do you. I'm going to start saying that a lot more. It is okay. We don't have to get everybody else's journey to be able to allow and accept that another human being might be having a different experience than us. We don't have to personally live it to get it, right? So you do you, I'm going to do me, but I'm going to support you in that art journey every step of the way. So you know that you're loved and you know that you've got somebody who's got your back. Be good to yourself. Be good to each other. We want to see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye.